Let's be honest for a second. Do you ever feel like you're in a losing battle with your own phone? Today, we are diving deep into Cal Newport's really powerful idea, digital minimalism. And look, this isn't about ditching technology and moving into a cabin in the woods. It's about taking back control so you can build a more focused, a more intentional life.
Wow. This quote from Andrew Sullivan, it just hits you, right? It perfectly captures that feeling so many of us have, that sense that the constant buzz and noise from our screens is, well, it's changing us, and maybe not for the better.
If that last quote made you nod your head, even a little bit, you are definitely not alone. The word that people keep using to describe their digital lives is exhaustion. It's that feeling of being pulled in a million directions at once, like you've completely lost control over your own time and your own attention. And that right there, that's the problem we're going to tackle today.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the tech takeover to understand how we even got here. Then, we're going to pull back the curtain on how our tech is literally engineered for addiction. After that, we'll introduce a minimalist philosophy as the way out, followed by a super practical plan, your 30-day declutter. And finally, we'll talk about what it really means to be choosing a focused life.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning with the tech takeover. Because the world we're living in right now, it's not really the one we consciously signed up for. It's more like we stumbled into it.
I mean, think about how simple these tools were at first. Back in 2004, Facebook was just this kind of quirky thing, basically a digital yearbook for college kids. And get this, when Steve Jobs first showed off the iPhone in 2007, he said its main feature, the killer app, was making phone calls. Nobody, and I mean nobody, predicted we'd end up checking these things compulsively like 85 times a day.
And this gets to a really important point. The problem isn't whether this tech is useful. Of course it is. The real issue, the thing that makes us all feel so uneasy, is that feeling of losing control, of losing our autonomy. We thought we were just signing up for a new way to keep in touch with old friends, and now we find we can't even have a 5-minute conversation with the person sitting right in front of us.
So how did that happen? How did we lose control so completely? Well, it wasn't by accident. And this is the part that's a little scary. We're in what you could call a lopsided arms race, and our technology has been engineered for addiction.
Bill Maher just came right out and said it. He argued that the bigwigs in Silicon Valley aren't these friendly nerd gods. He said they're just tobacco farmers in t-shirts. It's a harsh comparison for sure, but it really shines a light on a disturbing truth. Their business model depends on our compulsive, addictive use.
Tristan Harris, who used to work on this stuff as a design ethicist at Google, gives us the perfect way to think about it. He says our phone is a slot machine. And it makes so much sense. Every single time you pull it out of your pocket, you're pulling the lever to see what you get. A like, a new comment, a fresh post. Billions and billions of dollars have been spent to make sure we never, ever stop pulling that lever.
And listen, this isn't some conspiracy theory. This is a straight-up admission from the people who built it. Sean Parker, the first president of Facebook, he said the goal from the very beginning was to consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible. How? By creating a social validation feedback loop. His words, not mine. They are exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology.
So how do they actually do it? Well, they use two major psychological tricks against us. First, there's what's called intermittent positive reinforcement. That's the slot machine effect. The rewards are unpredictable, so you get a little dopamine hit that keeps you checking and checking and checking. And second, they hijack our ancient need for social approval. We're wired to care what our tribe thinks of us, and these apps tap right into that, making us crave that next hit of validation.
Okay, so that's the problem. It's big, it's intentional, and it's why just making a vague resolution to use your phone less never works. To fight back against something this powerful, you need a whole new philosophy. It's time to talk about a minimalist philosophy for your digital life.
Turning off a few notifications. That's like trying to patch a bursting dam with a piece of tape. It's just not going to work. The forces pulling at our attention are just too powerful. To really, truly take back control, you have to rebuild your entire relationship with technology from the ground up, starting with your own values.
And that brings us to the big idea, digital minimalism. It's a philosophy where you decide to focus your online time and attention only on a very small number of things that you've carefully chosen because they bring you huge value. And here's the best part. You happily miss out on everything else. This is about intentionality, not deprivation.
This whole philosophy really rests on 3 simple principles. Number 1, clutter is costly.
All those little apps and services, they might seem harmless, but they drain your most valuable resources, your time and your attention. Number 2, optimization is important. It's not enough to ask if a tool is useful. You have to ask, is this the best way to use this tool to support what I care about? And number 3, intentionality is satisfying. Just the act of taking back control, it feels really, really good.
And you know what? This stuff really works. These are real people. Take Tyler. He quit social media, and his focus at work shot through the roof. He got a promotion. Or Adam, who traded his smartphone for an old-school flip phone just so he could be more present with his son. Or Dave, who cut his Instagram use down to just once a week, and now he uses that reclaimed time to draw a little picture for his kids' lunchboxes every single day. These are life-changing shifts.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, this sounds amazing, but how do I actually do it? Well, Newport lays out a very clear, concrete plan. Let's walk through it. It's called your 30-day declutter.
Now, this is maybe the most important part of the whole process. Trying to just gradually change your habits, it almost always fails. The pull of the attention economy is just way too strong. To succeed, you need a rapid transformation, a clean break. You need to hit the reset button, hard. The process itself has 3 simple steps. Step 1, you take a 30-day break from all of your optional technologies. Step 2, and this is so important, you use that time to rediscover things to do in the real world. You have to fill that new space with high-quality activities. And finally, step 3, after the 30 days are up, you very carefully and intentionally reintroduce only the technologies that truly add value to your life, and you do it with strict rules. And of course, that's the big question on everyone's mind right away. What in the world counts as optional? Sounds kind of scary, so let's get really clear on what that means. So here are the ground rules. A technology is optional unless taking a 30-day break from it would cause genuine, significant harm to your job or your personal life. And you have to be really honest with yourself and not confuse what's just convenient with what is actually critical. For things that are mixed use, like maybe you need Facebook for a class or a club, you create very strict rules, like I will only check this group on my laptop once a day and I will never ever look at the newsfeed. And all of this, it leads us to the final and really the most important part of this whole journey. It's about choosing a focused life. Because this isn't really about what you're giving up. It's about what you're getting back. It's about rediscovering what really matters.
Now look, I'm going to be real with you. The first week or 2 of this declutter, it's going to be hard. You're going to feel that little twitch, that phantom itch to check your phone. But almost everyone who does this reports that after that initial hump, something amazing starts to happen. The anxiety fades away, and you start to notice the world again. You rediscover the deep, quiet joy that comes from doing things in the real world without being constantly distracted. At the end of the day, this whole thing is a message of incredible optimism. It's like Thoreau said, it is never too late to give up our prejudices. And that includes the prejudice that we have to be constantly connected to be happy or successful or informed. The choice is still ours. It's always ours. We can decide what technology we allow into our lives and on what terms. We can choose to trade the chaotic noise for intentional focus. We can choose a more deliberate, more present, and ultimately a more human life. The only question left is, are you ready to make that choice?